Guten Tag and welcome back to our little modded Minecraft world, everybody. Hey guys, how are you doing? I hope you had a great weekend, same as mine actually. And I am back as in our modded Minecraft world, as I said, and you can see here I'm crafting storage units. The idea was to start this recording a few hours earlier, actually. But one thing led to another, and the idea of making the sort of scheme or plan for what to do with Warehouse 14, I recognized very fast that I'm missing a lot of ingredients to actually get started. For example, I'm crafting the storage blocks, the 64K storage blocks, because I want to have a dedicated storage block for each type of blocks. So a 64 storage block for oak logs, for whatever, you name it. One storage block for each kind of material we have at our disposal. Not every kind of block needs 64K, of course. There are plenty of blocks we don't need that much of. We will just go with 1K or 4K or whatever we seems fitting. But we need these nonetheless. And I'm missing quite a few things. I will walk you through what I actually did so far in a minute. And as I mentioned, the grand scheme for today should be to make some sort of layout of how the warehouse should look like. So we will have areas where there are just shelves, aisles with aisles. I got corrected because I say ale like a beer, but it's actually aisles. So with aisles like shelves to the left and right, with ever higher shelves go almost up to the ceiling, but we can't fill a room 512 by 512 blocks and 512 height with shelves. That is that would be the most boring room in the world, right? So we have to come up with something else. And I have a few things in mind, and I want to try to lay out what we're gonna do with it. So we need different sections. We will have the basic sections where we have actual shelves, and then we will have totally different sections that are differently themed, and we will see how that works out. So we will hop right into the game and see what we can do. Alright, so I will try to walk you through the things I did over the course of the weekend and the last 2 hours of today. So, this here is crafting, as I said, storage blocks. And crafting, but you see here how many processes alone we need to craft these things? That is ridiculous. And we have, let's see, we have 38 pages. I have no clue how many blocks these are, but we have 38 pages. We don't need a storage block for each of every kind of item we have in here. For example, these patterns or casts. We don't need a storage area or just a miscellaneous storage area. And even all these parts we don't need a dedicated storage area for. But when we look at all the blocks here, many of these blocks we don't even have. But that can't prevent us from building storage for it, right? So we have to come up with a system where we have multiple, or we have different kind of storage areas. So to have that and to build all that, I did a few things in advance. So first of all, I added here in the farms, I removed a bit of the coffee plant and replaced it with nether quartz seeds. We have plenty of the materials for mystical crops or mystical agriculture, so that is not a problem at all. But we need thousands upon thousands of silicon, and the easiest way to get silicon is by smelting the nether quartz. The nether quartz, yes. And I did so. Let me... Nope. That was too deep. Here we go. Good. Here, I'm just using the ultimate furnace to smelt all the stuff, and I fed it with cave coal, because cave coal, as you can see, has a burn time of over 3 million. Regular coal, I think, has 1,600. So this here will basically last forever. until this series ends. It will last. Oh, and it actually finished just now. Good. We will build up that over time. I think I will keep the game running. You see here, yeah, we have only 450 nether quartz left. But we are gaining nether quartz essence. And the more we get of those, I think we crafted just like this. No. How was it actually? There was a recipe. Oh, like this. Okay. Oh, and this gives us 12. Yeah, so we have plenty. Good. That is really good. And we will gather more as time goes by. Beautiful. Good. So, another thing. That were jetzt clearly enough filler words. Man, I added more alloy smelters because the powder is keep piling up in the system. When you look at here, we have 100,000 aluminum dust, 194,000 tin powder, and so on and so on. And we need to get rid of that. So I added more alloy smelters, and this stuff is going through it like crazy. We have here the silver. Come on, fill it up. Good, 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 good. Here's the aluminum. Yeah. It's doing its thing. Pretty nice. Tin. Yeah, but smelting almost 200,000 ingots of tin in that example might take a while. And it is still grinding the ore blocks. Let's see, how much ore do we have left? Oh, look at this here. 24,000, 42,000 copper. More copper even. This is over 70,000 copper. Almost 80,000. Over 80,000 actually. Man, math. More tin ore. We have so much stuff. So we will clearly not run out of ore anytime soon. Also, I cleaned up the inventory a little bit. You can see here quite a few lights are now orange or blue, and the inventory is not as badly filled as it was before because I outsourced a few blocks, for example, like the potatoes and the rest of the substrates. We have now here with the void add-on, so everything more than that will get voided and we don't have to deal with the stuff. Good. But was there anything else? I don't actually yeah, I added a little bit of storage area down here. You saw that already, I assume. But we will head down now into the warehouse. This is the storage area where we carved everything out, and here is the actual warehouse. Here we go. And now we have to decide what we can we actually see the blocks? I don't think we can. Can we? Caves. Yeah, it does not show. But basically, this complete area here is carved out. There is nothing left. So we can fly back to back. Let me make it a little bit. Oh no, actually it looks good. Yeah, you can see here. This is now, I think, roughly the middle. And it still goes on and on and on and on. So we have a giant area. All this here is completely empty, despite the fact that it shows lava lakes, for example. The lava lakes are down below and not on the ground. So all this here is the room we have to deal with. And when you know maybe the TV series The Librarians, inspired by the movies from The Quest, I think. Man, it looks nice. When you know that series, you know that is a library as well. Sorts of what we're trying to do here. They store books and artifacts, and the warehouse basically stores artifacts. So really not that different. And in the library from the series The Librarians, there is a giant tree in the middle. And we have so much room to deal with that I think I might actually build a giant tree in the middle. Although I'm the absolute worst as tree building. So I will try to use a regular tree. I don't actually know. I will try to gather all the saplings we have and try to find a really, really big tree. For example, just like a jungle tree, or one of the giant... What is this here? Yellow Meranti sapling. Well, forestry. We don't have actually access to forestry, so that is not in the cards. Let me try to get the basic layout of what I want to do, and then I will be back with you. Just to give it a proper look, I hopped into a creative world and I grew all these saplings from forestry. So these are all the trees we have in here, and quite a few of those are actually quite big. For example, here the zebra wood, or this here, what is this here? Mahogany, I have actually no idea how to pronounce it in English, and kapok. So these are all pretty large. That one as well, I have no idea what this is. Cocobolo wood. But there are also sequoia trees. Is it sequoia? I think. Yeah, it's a sequoia tree. So these things are stupidly big. This is the coast sequoia, and this is the giant sequoia. So these trees are enormous, but they are quite uninteresting. They are really boring because they are really flat. I have no idea if they can grow in different ways. Let's see. So far the giant one grew in a 4x4 area. I don't know if it is even possible to grow them larger, for example in a 5x5. I didn't test that actually. But we can do this very quick and see if it is even growing in a larger area. This is the giant sequoia. Yeah, let's see if it grows in a 5x5. Let's see what is happening here. No, it's not growing in a 5x5 area. Okay, so remove this and let it grow as 4x4. Oh, there we go. Good. Yeah, so they can grow slightly different. This has a slightly more interesting trunk. Yeah, a bit more interesting. Sadly, they didn't grow in a 5x5 area. That would even be more amazing. But I think just from the height of the tree, I will grow with the giant sequoia. Now I have to figure out how to get a giant sequoia. Oh man. Hours later and I didn't do anything. I got totally lost in detail. So, okay. What we are about to try to do, that makes absolutely no sense. I will keep talking anyway. What we want to try to do is figure out a scheme or a layout, a basic layout of the library. Let's consider this platform here, the whole library. It's not in scale, nothing about that. Don't bother with that for right now. We just want to see if we can figure out how we want to lay this thing out. So let's see. Ring of growth. We will grow this tree here. If it can grow. It can't grow because it's too dark. I think. It's brighter now. Grow. Thank you. That is a terrible tree. Well, it can't be helped. It can't be helped. Ideally, I want this tree, the actual tree that we want to have in the middle. Can we do? No, that would take forever. We want to have like a pretty high trunk. Ah, that's not too bad. And then we have a really high and loaded, what is it? Canopy, I think. So we will have it really big, like a umbrella above everything. Something along that lines. Let me make a little bit of light. We have a tree light now. Then surrounding that, almost like in circles or circle-ish, we want to have the different areas of the library or warehouse. Now I keep saying library. What I mean is warehouse. You get me. Coffee. Man. In my head, it is kind of easy, but when I try to implement anything, man, it starts to getting hard very soon. So, back here somewhere. somewhere here-ish, we have the control room. Let me place down this nice lamp. That's from DecoCraft as well. It's so awesome. Oh, this is actually walnut? No. Oh, this is walnut. Okay. This lamp now represents the control room of the warehouse, which is actually that room over there. I should have placed it in the middle. Oh well, I screwed the center. It doesn't matter. Now man, it bugs me. Then we have way back there in the center, 256 blocks away from here, actually here. We have this giant tree, and we want to make the sequoia tree for it. But first we have to figure out how to get the sequoia sapling. I don't want to bother with it in this episode. It's just something we have to do. So we have now here this the center aisle, so to speak. Let me remove these planks here and replace them with something else. Do I have anything else? Yes, I do. Replace them with, just for now, it's just for layout purpose. Replace them with the spruce thingy. And we have that to all 4 sides, more or less. I ruin everything. I should do something like this maybe on a creative server. Oh well, it's not too bad. Good. Repair it. As I said, in all 4 directions. It should be apparent by now that we don't achieve anything today. But maybe we can imagine a picture of how we actually want to look this. I have to look this. Man, I can't speak anymore. It was a long day. Bear with me, please. Okay, we have now this center roads through the warehouse. And each of them leading to a different section of the warehouse. And especially here from the beginning, here in the front we have sort of a nice opening. So this area here will not instantly be aisle after aisle after aisle with shelves, but a little opener. So we have an area, let's say like this, where it's like an arc. And I'm missing blocks. Oh, by the way, I brought a cable from up there and installed the crafting grid here, so we can actually have access to our actual storing facility, refined storage, without having to travel upwards all the time. That got annoying pretty fast, and because of that I added this here. So we have like this arc area. Man, this axe is really too fast. Like this. Okay. And this area is a little bit lighter in terms of storage. So we want to have a nice entrance area to the actual storage facility. And then we want to start adding, and for that purpose I made these here. We want to start adding the aisles and the shelves. So this is, by the way, the reason I got lost in detail. I was thinking maybe, man, you have to do something when you want to imagine a warehouse / library with stuff in shelves. You have to have at least a few shelves to do so. Otherwise, I wouldn't even get it. So we would have like this. And here, back here, it would start a little bit later, like this. I should have made more. Man, this looks kind of awesome. I like it. And then even more over here. They should start then here. For example, like this. You know what? Let me make more of those. So here's a little bit more detailed layout. I added quite a few of those. Right now we have no diversity. It's just all the same, and it will diverse in the future. But for the purpose of the layout, it doesn't actually matter. So we have the larger open area here, like a roundish opening area, right where we stand now in the actual warehouse. We will have this area here, and then we will start having shelves over there and there in the background, here to the left, and they will grow higher and higher the further out they go. So quite a few blocks from here, they will start to reaching almost to the ceiling and go higher and higher. And the highest shelves should not even be visible from here. You should not actually see that they go that high. You have to go inside the library to see that they actually go higher than what you can see from here. And the tree will most likely also not be visible from here. Maybe just barely. We have to see how far up we can crank the view distance in here. So we have this starting area with lower shelves in front, and the further you go to the outside and the further you go to the center, the higher the shelves will be, so that we actually have no clear view from here to the other end, even if we have the view distance cranked up to the maximum. So we will always see shelves, at least until we are at the ceiling and can look over top of everything. So then we reach the center and we have this clear center area, and in my imagination there is a hole to the void. We have to see if we have any means to removing bedrock other than the dark oak trick, which I think is still functioning. And then we will have a hole in the bedrock, and over top of that we have a floating island, and on top of that floating island we have this giant tree. This is the center, the heart of the warehouse. And then we have walkways spreading out from there, and from here on it will be differently themed. For example, on this side it will be themed like steampunky area, like immersive engineering. Oop, there we go. And it will have a similar layout, where the further you go out, the higher the shelves go, like this. And this will then lead to an area where we actually have machines from immersive engineering. And we have stuff we can do over there with immersive engineering. And maybe over here we have a more magical area where we have stuff from blood magic, for example, or artisan craft. And we can have a giant zeppelin floating in the sky, either with V-craft, what was it called? Da Vinci vessels, I think. Yeah, these here. So it would actually be flyable. That would be a thing. Or we just use the Viscraft, or we build it just for the sake of optics, for looks. We have to see. And imagine when you look up, when I remove this here, woo, this would be more our viewing height to the actual shelves. So they would really go up, maybe 10, 20 blocks up in the sky, even the little ones. And then in the middle, I mean, we have almost 500 blocks to this. No, that is not possible. There is no 500 blocks. How far up is the ceiling? We are almost at 0 down there. And the ceiling, is this the ceiling? Yes. So the ceiling is 50 blocks. We have over 40 blocks to play with. Now, roughly 40 blocks, even a bit less. But we can build them up to there. Yeah, so I think the first one's maybe 7 or 9 blocks tall, and then up to 30, 35 blocks tall shelves. So we can barely see the rest of the library until we watch, for example, from here or stuff like that. It should be possible to overlook quite a bit of the library until we hit really high walls of shelves or even of crates. In some area there will be bulk storage because we have a lot of materials that we have in really, really great, in high quantities. And we will have bulk storage for that. Maybe here, this area here, may be dedicated to bulk storage of wood or of ores, of stone, whatever. Really large piles of this stuff. Gold blocks, iron blocks, even diamond blocks. Really large piles, so that would look like a big bulky storage area for things you can just throw on the ground. Coal is another example. Everything we have in abundance. So, oh yes, this actually started to look crowding. I like it. So over here must be something else then, and every walkway, every aisle. I started again saying aisle. The aisles should going over to different sections, and it can even branch off to the left or the right. Maybe when we go over to the magic section, the section to the left could be Craft. The section to the right can be Botania or whatever. You know, we have absolutely no, well, almost no limit. We have to fill a 500 by 500 area, which is quite a lot. Okay, so this is my basic idea. Admittedly, we haven't done anything building-wise, but we created an idea and we created a layout of what this thing is supposed to look like in the future. And I think that is a big step to actually try to start imagining what this thing can look like. And even with the little shelves I built, try to imagine what the bigger versions of those would look like. Inside the bigger shelves, there wouldn't be any books, of course. Well, in some places there would be books, but there would be actually the stuff we want to stow in there. So if we want to stow whatever, basically, fences, lanterns, pickaxes, that would be actually in there. And if stuff is not placeable, for example, with a pickaxe, some pickaxes we can place because of placeable items, but we can't do it with all items. Those we will most likely be remodeling with chisels and bits, like I did with these little shelves, which I actually find really cute. So this is the way we want to go. We still have to figure out a way for the grand scheme to work. So we now know we want to have the shelves here, and this is the main storage area. But when we start expanding it into the areas we actually want to have, for example, the rune automation from Botania, which is right now up top, but I want to rebuild it in a way that you can have a button press and it will start making that rune. And we will have a big room where we have the buttons and the runes alongside the walls. And we can just press a button if we want to have additional runes. And it should be really magical themed, like a lush magical forest. And then these incorporated into there, although I don't know yet how to do it. The same goes maybe with the blood altar, although this must have a way more menacing look. And yeah, basically throughout the mods we can have a windmill or a watermill from Better With Mods in here. Basically all the things we want, we can have and will have in here. So, I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think about it. I'm really curious what you think of the layout, of the idea. Yeah, as far as we can imagine it, of the theme, although I don't know if I want to keep the wood theme. It was just for now the easiest way to make some sort of bookshelf without relying on the vanilla bookshelves. So let me know in the comment section what you think of it. We will see us again in the next one. Take care of yourself, guys, and rock on!